Welcome back, students. I am your SST teacher Vandana Joshi and you are watching SST Youth. Students, in history till chapter 6, we have studied about the medieval settlement and the system which was working during the medieval time. But later it was changed. Students, today we will study a new chapter in history, that is chapter 7, and chapter name is Tribes, Nomads and Settled Communities. So before going to start the chapter, let us know the meaning of tribes. Tribe is a group of people of the same race who follow their own customs and have their own religion and language. Even they follow their own rules and regulations. Students, today we will study about the life of tribes and nomads and how their communities were settled. Under this chapter, today we will cover few topics. The topics are beyond big cities, tribal society. Number 2, who were tribal people. Number 3, how nomads and mobile people lived. And today's number 4th topic is changing society, new caste and hierarchy. Students, during the ancient time, society was divided into 4 varnas, which were later subdivided into jatis, or we can say subcaste. Each jati formed their own rules and regulations, about which you have studied in your chapter 2nd and 3rd. Students, the jatis formed their own rules and regulation and according to their occupations. Means they decided their jatis and their subcaste according to their occupations, whatever they were doing that time, like goldsmith, blacksmith, artisans, cobbler, carpenter. They have decided their own jatis or subcaste. Few jatis or groups didn't follow any society or any social rules and rituals. Such society or groups were after they were called as tribes, or we can say them Adivasis. How these tribal groups divided their societies. During the medieval period, most of the tribal communities lived in the dense forest, mountains, hills and the deserts. They liked to retain their independent identity and preserved their own culture. Their social condition was very poor. Some of them obtained their livelihood from agriculture, few were hunters, few were food collectors, few were the gatherers, and the different activities they adopted for their livelihoods. They normally used full natural resources, means they basically depend upon the forest for their daily needs. Some of them followed other occupations such as selling their goods and entertaining people with their songs. As you know, the Lokgeets or the folk tales, which folklores are also there, which we are also listening nowadays. These were started by these nomadic or the tribal peoples. They wanted to be isolated from the society. So if they want to be isolated from the society, so how we become to know about them? Let us see in our next topic, that is who were tribal people. Students, the tribals want to live isolated, so it was very difficult to know about them. The contemporary historians and the travelers from medieval period hardly give an information about the tribals. The important tribe of the medieval period were the Kokars and the Ghakkars, tribal of Punjab. The Argunas of Multan and Sindh, the Balochis of North west, Gaddis of Himachal, the Nagas, Ahoms of the northeast, and Chaurs of Bihar and Jharkhand, the Mundas and Santhals of Bihar, Odisha, and Bengal, the Gonds in Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, and Bilsan of Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh were some important tribal communities during that time. After seeing the developments and for their requirements, the tribal communities started move from one place to another place. The mobile communication are comprises of nomads. They do not live at one place and keep on traveling. The Gypsies and the Banjaras belong to that nomad groups. They were similar to the warrior class of Central Asia. Even today, we can see in many parts of India the nomads with their herd of animals. Some of the nomads were exclusively pastoral tribes. They survived on milk products and exchanged ghee, wools, etc. with farmers for grains, clothes, utensils, etc. They also transported food grains on their bullocks for the armies. Gaddis and the Gujaras were example of such nomads. So, how the tribal communities were become nomads, or how they started travel from one place to another place. So, let's see this in our next topic, how nomads and mobile people lived. As we know, the Banjaras were known as trader wanderers. They moved from one place to another in caravans known as tanda. During the medieval period, Sultan Alauddin Khilji employed Banjaras to bring grain to the city markets. The Mughal Emperor Jahangir wrote that Banjaras collected grains from different parts and sold it in town. They were often used to transport grains during the war. A trader, Peter Monde, wrote about the Banjaras that during the 17th century they acted as merchants who brought grains from where it was cheap and easily available and sold at the place where it was not available. They moved with around 10,000 bullocks with wheat, rice, and with their families. Generally, each tanda had about 700 persons and used to travel about 6 to 7 miles a day. In evening, animals were left free to graze in open green fields. Even many times pastoral tribes reared and sold animals such as cattle and horses to the prosperous people. Now how they become changed and how they changed their society, let us know about that in our next topic, that is changing society, new caste and hierarchies. See how they changed their society. As the need of society grew, people with new skills were required. Means they required some new skills to develop their status and to income more and more things. They began to change their scheduled lifestyle. Means now they were interacting with the peoples. They left the isolated life. They started to live a settled life and took up agriculture for their activity. Land were made available for cultivation through the clearing of forest. They started to clear the forest for the agricultural land. Even new settlements of laws and the cities began to emerge. How that cities were emerged during that time and how the nomads and the tribes, they changed their society. Let's see. As during that time the Varna Vyavastha was there, so smaller castes or jatis emerged with Varnas. Gradually, these new castes were included into the settled society by putting them into high or low ranks. Different jatis like carpenters, goldsmiths, ironsmiths, masons came into existence. New Jati Vyavastha became more complex than the Varna Vyavastha. It led the formation of larger social and political units like states. The Gonds and Ahom were two tribal groups who obtained powerful and independent kingdom. Later they divided into many smaller clans under different chiefs. Clans means a clan is a group of families or households claiming descent from a common ancestor. Tribal organization is often based on kinship or clan loyalties. Meaning to say, the Banjaras and Nomads, those were following the same rituals. They came under one roof, and that roof was known as clans. The emergence of states is closely related to social changes amongst tribal people. Among all the tribal people, Ahoms and Gonds were the most powerful tribal groups who obtained the more power. They gained more and more power to rule over other tribal groups. So, in our next video, we will see a closer look about the life of Ahoms and the Gondas. So, students, here our today's topic is complete. Here are few keywords which you have to note down in your notebook. Hope you understood our today's topic. For more videos and updates of this chapter, keep watching SST Zone.